Hello everybody, welcome to my latest video. This is on Inquisitor Martyr, as you can probably tell, mainly from the thumbnail but also from what's on screen. This is going to be talking about progression within the game. Now, I have covered this in depth on my old channel, but because I don't necessarily want to promote my old channel, as it's dead and I don't upload to it anymore, I thought I would do some of the videos that did the best on my old channel, but also seem to be questions that are still arising. So, for example, this video will be covering progression within the game. Now, on the face of it, this is a very simple game. You basically have active skills that are determined by your weapons and passive skills that are from a very similar skill tree depending on what class you've got. Now, I say very similar because they are not exactly the same. Let's look at that first. So if we go into the passives tree, the majority of these will be the same across all character classes. So your melee combat, ranged, single DPS, area effect, physical attacks, damage over time, heat attack, suppression, critical hits, debuffs, movement, health, and defense are all the same across all of the different characters. The ones that change, usually 3 of them, they might be in different places as well, I should point that out, and hopefully later in the video I will show you a skill tree from a different class. But for the Sororitas we have Warfare, Acts of Faith, and Banners. Now, these make your character very, very different, and you do unlock these skill trees by performing specific activities. Now, I have unlocked them all with this particular character, so I can't show you what it says about unlocking them. But, for example, some heroic deeds will actually unlock certain skill trees for you. The completed one's skill branch. Can you see it says there at the top, Death Dealer? So deal 1 million damage and gets you the Art of Death Cult's skill branch. So if we go back here, and I can't remember which one exactly that is, but it's no doubt critical hits. There you go. So Art of Death Cult's, which is your critical hits skill tree, you unlock by doing 1 million damage with that particular character. So there is progression as far as that's concerned, because you have to do certain things to unlock those specific skill trees. Now, in theory, there are some that you could get through the entire game without unlocking, although that is quite difficult. One of the other types is you've got 2 at the bottom, in the bottom corners, Radical and Puritan, and they are based on decisions you make in the game. So you will have the option at some point to choose either a radical approach to a question or a situation, or a Puritan approach. If you choose Puritan for one and then radical for another, you won't move far from the center, so you won't unlock any of the perks. So it's a good idea to pick one and go all in on it. Now, Battle Sister, very much Puritan in my way of thinking. Psychers, maybe not so much so. But of course you are open to make that decision yourself. You could have a radical Battle Sister. To my canon, my headcanon, my lore, I don't think I would think that were possible, but it's your game. You can do whatever you want. Now, one other thing that we do have is we have your character sheet. Now, on this character sheet, it has rewards on next level. That tells you all of the rewards you're going to get for each character level you have. Now, initially, you don't just get skill points. So for level 2, you get 1 skill point. For level 3, you get 1 skill point, but you also unlock Personal Void Shields and Inferno Pistol and Chainsword. Now, that's a combo weapon specific to the Battle Sister. What this does is this actually is your way of unlocking additional active skills. So your passive skill tree obviously is something that all characters get access to, but there are certain weapons that you can only access with certain characters. So combo weapons, specifically called combo weapon by the way, with the Battle Sister, or Heavy Bolter with the Crusader, are just 2 examples. It's also a way of unlocking the weapon skills, so until you can wield or find that weapon, those skills are locked to you, so you only get access to certain skills once you've reached a certain character level. Now, certain characters unlock those weapons earlier than others, for example, which is a way of making your progression different per class. So for example, the Eviscerator, it's a level 4 weapon with the Sisters of Battle. For the Crusader, it might be level, I can't remember, but just off the top of my head, if I say a level 16 unlock, so you know that you get those skills earlier on with the Battle Sister than you do with the Crusader. Now that being said, if you choose to pick the same weapon with different classes, your experience is going to be very similar. And if you also pick the passives that everyone can have, such as only pick area of effect, damage over time, and critical hits, for example, you can basically make the same character regardless of the class you are playing. That is an option, and some of the meta builds out there will probably push you to do that because they are the most optimized builds. The problem is it removes the individuality of the class. So if you're happy with that, by all means do it. Me, I prefer to use the class-specific skill trees because they're designed to make that class distinctive and individual. So I do try and do that as much as possible. As you can see, I have picked every single one of the Sisters of Battle skill trees. And that's purely because I think they are absolutely brilliant for the Sisters of Battle. Now if we go back to the rewards tree, you can see that there are certain things like passive points, freely usable attribute points, and different items. Now banners are very specific to the Sisters of Battle, and there are different types of banners as well. Also, the perks that you unlock in here is mainly class specific. Now, the class specific, the perks are, for example, Burning Piety using an Act of Faith. Act of Faith is only a Sisters of Battle ability, or I shouldn't say ability, because it isn't. It's only a Sisters of Battle thing. I think that's the best way of putting it. Spell is probably closest. But no one else can use them. So if you use these perks that are specific to your character class as well, you can make a very distinctive character. Now, that being said, there are also some other options. Now, for things like Crusader, the Assassin, and the Crusader and the Assassin, you basically have your weapons, your perks, and that's basically it, apart from maybe your Inoculator. For the Psyker, the Tech Priest I should say, not Tech Marine, the Tech Priest and also the Sisters of Battle, you have these little areas here. So Sisters of Battle has this one here, the Psyker has this little book here, and the Tech Priest has this console here. Now what this allows you to do is it actually allows you to access different abilities for your character. So Sisters of Battle, you've got your Acts of Faith, your Sacred Rites, and your embodied saint form, the deeds that you can do while you're in that particular form. For the Psyker, you will just have spells that you can equip to your skill tree, and for the Tech Adept or Tech Priest, you will basically get the different automata that you can equip. If you're on PC, you lucky things, you can actually equip your I'm going to say your assistants. That's the wrong word. I can't remember what they're called because my brain has gone completely blank and my notes don't include the name of them. But basically, they are your retinue. That's the word. They are your retinue, and you can have a Sisters of Battle, a Crusader, an Assassin, and a Psyker, and you can have them all active at once. The only other Inquisitor you cannot have is you cannot have a Tech Adept in your retinue, and that's probably because their main ability is to have followers of their own, and that would just get ridiculous. But you can have the others, and you can equip them with equipment, you can put skills on them, etc, etc. You also have a secondary bar, so the Hierophant cannot equip a second weapon. They do not have 2 weapon slots. They have 1 weapon slot, and the second slot is the instructions that they give to their retinue. So that's something to take into account. But it does create some pretty unique situations. Now, you can play this game purely as almost a cover shooter, an isometric cover shooter. And if you play it like that, of course, all of the classes will be extremely similar. If you do utilize some of the specific traits of each class, such as the banners for the Sisters of Battle, or the spells for the Psyker, for instance, then it does make it considerably different per class. So hopefully that all makes sense. So let me just drop out and bring you in a different class so you can see the different skill trees. Before I do that, let me just bring these up again so you can see them. So on the Sisters of Battle, we have Warfare, Acts of Faith, and Banners as the first 3 on the second row from the bottom. Now I've switched to my Melee Crusader, however, if we go back into the passive slot again, all of a sudden we have some different things. You can see most things have been moved about. So we don't really have that much that is, I suppose, specific to the Crusader, but we now have aimed shots, for example. We have execution. Both of those are also available for the assassin, by the way. We also have this physical attacks, and I believe this might be one of the ones that are specific to the Crusader. But you can see that everything's moved around, so you do have to keep an eye out what you're going for. Support might be one of the ones that's different for this class, to be honest. But all of the classes have their own abilities, their own specific passive skill trees, and as I said before, we also have the next level rewards. And if we have a look, because this is a melee based Crusader, I said what, level 16 for the Eviscerator? It's actually 12, so I wasn't too far out. I'm quite impressed with that. So yes, we unlock the Eviscerator at level 12 rather than level 4. So the skills balance is definitely more weighted for Sisters of Battle to have the melee weapons early on. Now, I have to point out that each of the classes has their own archetype. Now, my character archetype, if you actually have a look at my character screen, says it's a tactical Crusader. The tactical Crusader is normally firearms based, so you start off with twin pistols in effect. So that does determine what equipment and skills you start with. So if you have a look, I have pistols, plasma guns, flamers, bolt pistols, power swords, grenade launchers, bolt gun, inferno pistols. So it's all very heavily firearm based at the beginning. There are a couple of melee weapons, but that's so that you're not completely limited. But of course, if we consider that we've got pistol, axe, plasma gun, and then great axe as the first 4 that you will unlock, if we go to a melee focused character start screen. Now, I had to create this character for this specific task, but if you have a look for your opening skills, we can't actually have a look at them because I haven't leveled up, but you can see that the first one at level 2 is going to be a chainsword. Then we have the plasma pistol, even though the plasma pistol was the first one when you were playing as a tactical. We then have the great axe, we then have the plasma gun, then the flamer, then a standard hand axe, which didn't appear in that list at all for the first 12 for the Tactical Crusader. So it does change which weapons you unlock when. It also changes the perks as well. So it's definitely something to consider. Won't have that much of an impact late game, but definitely to start, if you want to play a melee class right from the get-go, it's best to start with the Assault Crusader. You can always change your armor later on. It just changes how your skills and your weapons start out. So if we go to the passives as well, you can see that my movement, I need to be level 13 to unlock that. So there are certain things that you can only unlock at certain skill levels, or certain character levels, I should say. The other thing is, once you have unlocked a skill tree with a character, if it's not tied to a level but it's tied to something like do 1,000,000 damage, any version of that character that you play will have them unlocked already. So this brand new level 1 already has critical hits completed, because I have completed the 1,000,000 damage with a Crusader previously. So that is basically it. Now, this is obviously an informational video. I am going to be doing some more if you would like them. If you would, then please do comment down below. Let me know what you would like me to go through. I have had some questions recently about itemization and how that works. There's obviously some doctrines. There's lots of things to go through. So if you are interested, please do let me know in the comments down below, because of course I want to make things that you want to watch, and hopefully if I make things you want to watch, you'll watch them. But I'm going to leave the video there. Thank you very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you have liked the video and found it useful, please make sure you do click the like button. Subscribe if you are new to the channel, or if you've been here before but have never subscribed, please do. It really does help me out. I'm almost at the level where I can start asking for memberships and doing super likes, for example, which of course isn't mandatory, but if you do like videos, it does help me out, of course. And once I hit 1,000 subscribers, then I can monetize my channel, which, although I'm not going to get much, I'm fully aware of that. Every little helps, as they say. So thank you if you do subscribe. There we go. I look forward to seeing you for my next video very soon. You all take care. Bye for now.